welcome back again to my YouTube channel. If you were here yesterday for my video on documentation, thank you, appreciate it. This time I'm going to do a video regarding HaloPSA and the hottest topic, of course, in today's period of time, which is artificial intelligence, obviously. Halo recently released a version to stable, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We are using my training instance. I know I still owe a couple videos, or more than a couple videos on training. I'm going to bypass that for right now. In my calls with clients, it's very common for them to get sidetracked to say, like, we really want to talk about AI. So hopefully this video will stop that from happening. We are currently running on 2.152.34. And if we go to release notes, we can kind of see that we've got plenty of feature releases regarding to AI. Suggestions are now available. Article suggestions are available. There's a couple others that were added in over the last few versions that before 2.152. So we're going to go through and dive into all of them. Now, there is a couple warnings I'm going to throw out there. Number one, HaloPSA is, I don't know if this is official yet, but they do come, the demo environments that you get when you sign up, the demo instances that get configured when you sign up, come with OpenAI configured using HaloPSA's Azure OpenAI instance. And so you can use that out of the box if you like, with the standard caveat and warnings regarding data sovereignty and ownership being put out there. So just use that at your own risk. And you also have the ability to configure it for your own Azure OpenAI or your own OpenAI connection. But there are two different modules here. So I'm going to dive in. One of the changes that happened in 2.152 is that we broke the AI integrations out normally, or not normally, but before, if we go down into integrations, we would have essentially two AI options, OpenAI and Azure OpenAI. Now, if you can't tell, there are two different colored icons here. Some are disabled, like these, and some are actually enabled, like these. And so, just so you realize, this coloring is based off of the application color of the program, and it could be difficult to tell whether or not something is enabled or disabled unless you change that, depending on if you're colorblind. In this case, both OpenAI Azure and OpenAI ChatGPT are turned on, and we can go and see their individual settings by clicking into them. One of the changes that happened, however, is that this is now its own separate module, or its own separate setup inside of the AI. So if I go to configuration, I'll have an AI section. It'll take me right here. It's the same settings. And based off of this radio selection, I can't have both enabled. I can only have one or the other. This is the OpenAI setup for HaloPSA on Azure. And so we want to make sure this is working before we do anything else. We just want to verify that this is working the way we expect it to. So in order for this to happen, I need to find a ticket to play with. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this test ticket, 2188, essentially. And then I also need an action number. And so we're just going to use action number 1 from here, which is right here, this action number 1. I'm going to go back into configuration in a new tab, and I'm going to run into my custom integrations to go approach my runbooks. This is the fastest way that I know of that we can tell to see if OpenAI is working correctly. I'm going to run the ask a question method, and I'm just going to hit test, and I'm going to provide the ticket number, which is 2188, and I'm going to provide the action number 1 and have it try to generate a response to that. And we're getting a 400. So apparently the message is too big. So this is both good and bad because number one, it's working. Like I can clearly see my AI is working. And bad because obviously I tried sending a message that's too long, so it's not going to work. I'm going to have to find a different action number to test it with. So I can do 7 instead of 1. If I go ahead and test this again, we can try 2188 and then test number 7, action number 7, and see what happens. And now we've got a response from the OpenAI that's successful. And so we can kind of see this is working correctly. We also noticed that we do have OpenAI enabled here. We have OpenAI configuration and methods. I don't know if this works per se. We're going to test it out just because we shouldn't be able to use both at the same time. And I think this is just left over from the way, yeah, it is working. So they provide, Halo has both OpenAI and Azure OpenAI configured with tokens that work. And I'm just going to go to make sure we don't confuse anyone. I'm going to go turn off OpenAI ChatGPT. If I can, it actually doesn't let me. Yeah, because it's configured by the module. Okay, well, I guess we're stuck. So hopefully it doesn't cause too many problems in this situation. We're going to dive into the differences a little bit more later because there are a couple things that are slightly different with how things are going to work. All right, so let's talk about some new features regarding AI. We talked in a previous video about chat. We talked about the action rewriting email, stuff like that. That's all kind of old news at this point. One of the things that we can do now, though, is we can configure the default Azure OpenAI deployment, and we also have an embeddings deployment as well. This, I don't know if it's actually going to work out of the box. This makes no sense, I think. I don't believe OpenAI can have the same deployment that can be used for both embeddings and for chat completions. Let me find out. I mean, again, we can just test this. We can go to our custom integrations and go to our integration for Azure OpenAI and then pull up our method. Let's go to create embedding. Let's just try to create an embedding for that ticket number 2188 and see what happens. Yeah. All right, so this model does not work. It's using the GPT-35 Turbo 16K, and it has to be using an embeddings model. There's a specific, I can't remember the name of it. There's a specific model that's used for embeddings, and so that has to happen. So in order for this to work, we need to make sure that that's updated. Although previously, on older versions of Halo, you only had one field to populate, and so in my videos, I was talking about how you have to change the URL to modify the deployment that's being used to the one that has embeddings. In this case, we actually have the ability to specify an embeddings version as well, and that gets translated into a variable that we can see here. So we no longer have to modify the URL, and in fact, I don't think we even can modify the URL inside here. It's basically locked because it's configured by the module. So there are certain settings we can't do so that we don't break it. All right, skipping embeddings for right now. So we're just gonna fall off of this. We're gonna skip this part, and we'll come back to that later. Let's talk about the knowledge base search. Knowledge base search actually uses embeddings as well. Using the vector search database, it can use the built-in Halo, or it can use Azure AI search. If you have Azure AI search module set up in your system, you can just click on it, configure a connection, and you basically connect it to your instance in Azure. So that uses that database, your AI search engine, to be able to identify articles and also tickets as well, if you set that up. The other thing that we can talk about is using AI insights. So this is where things come into play. We want to use AI insights to evaluate your ticket data. This is going to tell us how the tickets, similar tickets in the system. It's also going to tell us like what the sentiment is of the ticket. So if we come into AI insights and go to the flow chart, we can kind of see that we're basically executing an integration method. Notice, however, this integration method is actually, this bug just flew in front of my face and made me react very violently. Give me 1 second. All right, I don't know where it went, so hopefully I will no longer be attacked by evil bugs. And let's keep going. Notice that the integration method here is missing, and this is one of the problems with the runbooks. When you come out of the box, this one exists. We're doing a create embedding, and then what we do, we take that and we basically build both the vector and also the AI tonality, the summarization, the priority, and AI ticket type into the ticket itself. And so that's what it's doing when it's doing an assessment. It's building out the generated summary, the suggested priority, suggested type, and it's putting that onto the ticket along with the vectorization itself inside this runbook. Now, the problem is, again, in some cases, the runbooks that come out of the box don't install correctly, and it's not linked to the correct method. And so what we have to do is we have to come back and find the correct method to link to. This is going to be an Azure OpenAI method. We want to evaluate ticket details. Notice we've got 2 of them here, right? It kind of like got confused because when we turned it on, Halo is not properly tracking which integration method to go with. So we've got 2 of these here that it can use, and we don't know which one is technically correct, but let's take a look at them. So we've got this, notice we've got API version here twice, like this whole thing is broken. We've got authorization, headers are good, body says take the text from below message strip HTML, do the following, we want to summarize the message less than 10 words, include as much detail as possible, set a priority number, decide whether it's incident or request, tonality, return the tonality of the person, make sure it comes back as JSON, right? So if you've seen my other videos, this kind of feels familiar, and we provide the ticket details in order for it to look at it. Looking at the output variables, we've got a bunch of things here, right? We've got these, which we saw was being used, but we also have these, which are old, kind of. This is what was previously being logged. And so the runbook kind of clobbered over it. We also have this one here, which is the other one. We don't have any query parameters. We've got the headers are nothing. We have the body here. It looks like it's doing much the same message. Yep. And then the output variables are completely missing, right? So this completely, like we don't have, this is not set up correctly. And so the question is, which one do we use? And the answer is, it doesn't really matter. We just need to do one of them, and they need to be set up correctly. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, because we already have the output variables specified. This is the old one that was previously being used. We can see historically a few days ago that it was being called, and we're just going to fix it. So we're going to take this. We are going to clear this one. We don't need multiple. We're going to delete all the blank ones. All right, so we just have this one header. And then name must be unique. Okay, version 1. All right, and then we go to the headers. This is fine. Our body is okay. Let's go to the output variables. We're okay leaving these alone for the most part. We know we need these, which will work. And we can go ahead and save this. Let's test if this is going to come back the way we want to. And we're just going to provide the same ticket number that we did before, 2188, and we're going to test it. And let's see what happens. We've got unable to log into Outlook Online. We've got the priority, ticket type incident, unhappy. And we've got the exact same details here, right? Unable to log into online, to incident, unhappy. So this is basically the response to from AI about this ticket. We're going to go ahead and use this method so that we can go back, go into our runbook really quick. And we're just going to go into here, and we're going to modify this to use the method for version 1, which is right here. And then we're going to save that, and everything else will flow through because we are using those variables over here, over here, the way we expect it to, right? So Azure OpenAI tonality now exists over here, tonality, and so on and so forth. So this should now work properly. Now it is enabled, so in order for it to work, it has to be tied into an event. So what we want to do is we want to just come in here and actually build an event for a new ticket logged, and I don't care what ticket type it is. We're going to go ahead and trigger that on every new ticket logged, and we're just going to go ahead and save this. Now, if you remember my old video regarding AI, you'll remember that we used custom fields to set the same exact values into custom fields on the ticket. In this case, these custom fields are no longer being used. They're actual properties on the ticket, direct properties that are native to Halo on the ticket and are being recorded directly onto the ticket. So it is a little bit different from what we're used to. If I go to new ticket here and I start logging a ticket, let's just log it under Ben Castle, and let's say ongoing issues with the internet have yet to be resolved. To crawl, this is unmanageable. Please fix it yesterday. All right, and so we can go ahead and set a category of, I don't know, let's say we do hardware 3CX. It's clearly not the right category. I'm going to do single user low, obviously not the right priority. And I'm just going to go ahead and submit this ticket. And what we should see is this runbook should fire, basically, upon the ticket being created. It's going to be in progress, and ideally, it will succeed. In this case, it failed. Let's take a look as to why. We got a response 400 saying the embeddings operation does not work. Please try again. That makes sense because embeddings is not going to work on the model that we're in. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to skip the embeddings action at this point because I don't want that to break per se. Like I don't want this to break my my workflow. So what we should be doing is selecting a different model to use so that the embeddings work. I don't know. Let me do this. I'm actually going to build a quick AI on my Azure, and I'm going to update the one I'm using here to use that. So give me 1 second. And we're going to change our AI integration so that we can use the embeddings correctly, because I think that makes the most sense to show you what's going on. All right, so let's see. We'll go to Azure OpenAI. If I can find it. Oh, here it is, Azure OpenAI. Right, and so we've got basically MSP Advisor's AI instance that we'll use. And if I come here to keys and endpoints, I'm going to take this. I'm going to go to my endpoint here. I'm just going to modify this to become that. And then I'm going to take my AI key, which we'll just copy and paste. And then I'm going to keep my same version. There is a newer one that you can use from 2024 March, and I think maybe even May or whatever, but you can find what version you want to use. But I'm just going to leave this one here. I do need to build specifically, I need to build the model that's going to be used. So I need to go manage my deployments. And I'll share this part of the screen, right? So here's the Azure OpenAI Studio. It's loading. And I'm just going to group these together so that we can find them again easier. Hopefully Azure AI Studio will load. There we go. All right, and so we've already got, so text embeddings ADA, that's the one that we want to use. So we've already got GPT-4, right? I can create a new deployment, and I can choose the model of GPT-4-0 if I want to. And so we can say MSP Advisors 4.0. 4.0, we're going to be as model name. We'll auto-update to latest version, right? 2024 5.13, that's the version of the API we want to use. We can follow a standard deployment. And then we can go ahead and apply content filter or whatever and create that. Let's go ahead and update our AI. So we're going to use 2020, what was that? 2024 0513, right? So 2024 0513 is going to be the API version we're going to use. And the default Azure OpenAI deployment is going to be MSP Advisors -4.0. And then our embeddings one, we're going to go back to our deployments and we're just going to grab MSP Advisors.embeddings as the name. And we're going to go ahead and use that here as well. Like that, okay? And now that I've done that, theoretically speaking, if I go back to my integrations, and number one, we just want to make sure this still works. So we're going to go ahead and test this to, I don't know what that ticket number was. 2188, right? 2188 and action number 7 or something. Let's see if this works. No, resource is not found. It could be it's not ready yet, or it could be my API version is wrong. Let's check our embeddings really fast and see what happens. Embeddings is going to be a different model. All right, and so we'll do 2188. Nope, not found either. Okay, so let's take a look at what we did here. Probably the version number of the API. Give me 1 second. Let me just look up what it is. Okay, we're going to do 2024 0301-preview, like that. Okay. API version is 2024 0301 preview. And then let's go ahead and try this again. We're going to test this. We may have to refresh. I'm just going to refresh this page so it loads the latest version. And we're going to come back here, create embedding, test that 2188, test. There we go. And now we have an actual vectorization of the ticket. If I go back again, do wrong one. If I do a test of the ask a question, test that 21887. So we should come back with a response. Happy to help you. Please provide more details, and so on and so forth. So that is using the latest 4.0 model that we just created, and it's also using the embeddings that we just mapped. And it's basically that easy to configure and set up once you get your Azure OpenAI in place. So with that being said, we're gonna go back to our runbook and figure out why or what we need to do to make this happen, right? So we have a log here where the post failed, and I'm just gonna try to retry this again, which can't be done from the system really. We just have to basically, well, there may be let's go into the ticket type and show the automations field and see the tab and see if we can tell it to so we want the AI suggestions, automations tab. These are things that we recommend turning on the ticket types in general, as well as the auditing tab. So if I go back here and I refresh, I should see billing, AI, automations, and audit log, right? It's all here. So I can go to automations potentially, and I can just tell it to rerun the Azure OpenAI Insights, which did not let me do that. Normally I can right click and rerun it, but that's not letting me do it. Okay, well, never mind. We do want to stop the AI Insights from running. We only want one of these two. So going back to the point where I said we have things happening, let's go to our runbooks really fast and go back. And we also have this AI Insights. It's also being run upon a new ticket being logged, where the ticket type is an incident. I'm just going to delete this for right now, and we're going to mark this as disabled, and we'll come back to this later. All right. So with that being said, let's go to our ticket. We're going to delete it and then recreate a new ticket, except I am lazy and I'm just going to copy that. Or better yet, I'm just going to clone it. I'm just going to create one clone of this ticket, save. And then I can go ahead and delete this ticket. We don't need it anymore. All right, and so then the next ticket that gets created is going to be 2365, probably. Let's take a look. Service desk. I don't even know where it went, per se, but if I do 2365, enter. No, 2364. There we go. Delivery failed. That's not the same ticket that I was looking to do. What did I do? All right, well, let's go find this ticket. Hold on. All tickets, all tickets. Get reported. Here we go. This one. All right, and so now we have an AI suggestions tab that is blank. We have an automation that failed again, failed result. Last step is 7. Let's go take a look at what happened. So if we go back to our runbook, and we can back out of here, go into here, go to the log, we should see a new record of it having run. No, did it get confused? Did it not run at all? This is failing for a while. It's okay. What's going on here? The log isn't showing. That's interesting. But deliveries are here. And so this is the one that we just did, right? So this time we got ticket details. We've go ahead and we got the embeddings correctly. And so we got the response of the embedding. And now when we tried posting the data, we got a response saying string of binder cannot be truncated, statement has been terminated. Okay, so it didn't like the vector posting. Or it didn't like the response back from, look at these. It didn't like that response back. So that's fun. There has been some reports about people who are getting bad reply back. So if we go look at that integration method and go take a look at how the evaluate ticket details is running, right? And we can go ahead and test this with 2366, it looks like. 2366. Yeah, so we can see it's returning back JSON and a JSON string. So there's been reports about this happening. I'm curious to know whether or not this occurs on the other one. This is the other one that we can look at using to see how this plays out. So let's go ahead and test it really quick. 2366, save. Let's see if we get the same response. Yes, we do. Notice the content includes a JSON string here. Priority 1 So it includes this JSON new line. Let's just grab something really quick. Let's go back to the v1 and grab the response variable. Let's say I have the summarization and just throw this up here like this. Output variable, edit, v2, summarize, whatever. This will be a string, and the response summarize with an exclamation mark. Save, test, 2366, save. Yep, and notice the summarize includes the JSON string here, right? So that's actually not helpful. So again, this goes back into a problem that people reported where AI sometimes is including the JSON prefix when it shouldn't be. There was someone who was reporting this to me, and they worked with Halo to get it fixed to a certain extent. Let me see if we can grab this and just copy what they said here. So we'll go to the body, we'll edit this, and let's just replace, this is on the new one-ish. So we're just gonna replace this with that, basically. Yeah, and then it doesn't like the fact that there are double quotes and all these things. So we can just escape them really quickly. Type, tonality, and urgency. These are trying to search, summarize, such as blah, blah, blah. Incident or incident, request or request. An incident versus something broken, either happy, unhappy, excited, or curious, based on the tone of message, either high, medium, low, based on urgency. The response must follow the following JSON template. Again, we'll do the summarize, insert summarize here. Right, so it's basically instructing more strictly regarding the format because AI will kind of figure this out on its own. It's gonna run on its own, so to speak, autonomy. So it's not going to necessarily follow what you need it to all the time. So the more specific you are, the better it can be. And this is not a guaranteed fix either. We're just gonna see because this is something that the other person I'm talking about had success with doing. And transfer output is going to consist of a single JSON object, and you will not wrap it within JSON MD markers. All right, and everything else should be more or less the same. Let's go ahead and save this and test it. 2366, save, and we should. There we go. Internet slows down to a crawl. So that actually did work correctly. I'm just going to take this body that we have, everything I just did, and I'm just going to copy it into the other v1 so that I don't have to go ahead and recreate everything. So I'm just going to go to the v1 and I'm just going to copy that. Oh, it's like the third time I did that. Okay. Copy this here so we can come in here and paste that in like that. We're just going to clear out the extra double quotes we have, and that should hopefully allow us to do the same thing. 2366, save it, and we'll get back. Boom. Internet slows to crawl. Priority 1, incident, unhappy, and so on and so forth. So that now we're back to a working thing, or before on ChatGPT 3.5, it was working the way we wanted it to. We changed the model, it got a little finicky, so then we were a little bit more specific in the thing. And I honestly think this is going to take some playing around, but I think that this is the magic instruction. But if that doesn't work and you want that specific text, let me know, and I'm happy to post it. Maybe I'll post it in the KnowledgeBase article and include the link down below in the video. Anyways, with that being done, we can come here and we can just run this test again so we can see what happens. We're just going to go ahead and generate another new clone. So that should be 2367. We're going to clone it one more time. We're not going to not include ticket history, and that should generate 2367. And let's take a look at what happens, right? So 2367 has been generated. Running our runbook, if we go to our deliveries, we should see, hopefully, at some point, It failed again. I don't even see the data here. Wow, it's getting worse and worse. I'm going to create a brand new ticket because I don't know if it's properly triggering the automation. Let's try this again. And we'll just grab that, and we'll grab this. Set a category, RMM monitoring, alert handling, single user, low. We'll submit that and see what happens. Okay. Okay, so this is in progress now. 751. Now it's completed, and it was successful. So now we can see the deliveries that it was successful. If I go into this ticket that we just created, AI suggestions should, if I'm not mistaken, be populated. Come on. This is still trying to run. Not sure why that's still trying to run. And so I don't know if that's causing a problem or not. But we can see here that it did properly post the information to the ticket, and the ticket did get updated correctly. So if we were to look in, let's do this. I think we have to break the AI setup to stop this from happening. So let's go back to OpenAI. We've got some methods here. I was hoping to keep it enabled, but with I want to showcase walking back and forth between the two of them. But it doesn't look like it's letting me here. 710 deliveries. 716, 734. Yeah, I think it's kind of confused. So let's go to integrations really quick. Let's go to AI here actually, and we're just gonna mark this as none and see what happens. So if we set this to none, what we should be getting is AI should be disabled at this point. So if I go look at my integrations and go to the AI stuff, we should see both OpenAI and ChatGPT are currently disabled at this point. Azure OpenAI and ChatGPT are disabled. Now I'm going to come back here. I'm just going to refresh this, and I'm going to choose Azure OpenAI, and it makes me fill all the information back in again for the resource and the key. So let me grab that really fast, pull this out, and go back. Go back again. All right, keys and endpoint. So we can grab the endpoint and paste it in here. This is an existing. Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's set this to none for a minute. Let's go back to this is going to be really annoying. Let's go back to AI Insights. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to delete this runbook. Okay. We're going to go to custom integrations, and we're going to, oh, it's gone. Perfect. Let's go ahead and create own Azure OpenAI connection. Let's go ahead and paste that in there, and then we can grab a key and paste that in here. And the version that we want was going to be 2020 4-301 preview, like that. And then we can come back here. This should be enabled potentially. Let's take a look at this page. Let's refresh. Going down here, we should only see one of these enabled now at this point. And then going down to our custom integrations, going to custom integrations, Azure OpenAI methods, we should see that we had all our stuff still here, including the changes that we made, I think. Right, and so if I provide the test of 2366 and save, we should come back with the specific details. That's perfect. I can go back to my runbooks. Let's take a look at the runbooks. And we've got the Azure OpenAI stuff at this point, and the Azure OpenAI is showing successfully completed. Go to the flowchart. We can see that this is running the V1, which is what we want. This is going to come and run the embeddings, which is successful. And then we're going to post that information back to the ticket, which worked the way we wanted it to. And so I'm going to go ahead and try this one more time. Let's find the ticket that we were working on, 2368, and just refresh this ticket screen for me. I'm going to delete the ticket and start over again. So we'll delete this one. And we'll delete this one. And we'll go and delete That's basically it. Okay, delete, close, close. We'll close out all of our tabs here because we don't want to get confused. And then we're just going to go back here, refresh this page, and hit new ticket so that we don't have anything left over. And let's start over. Let's do Acorn Ben Castle. Unvariably slow. Right, and so let's go ahead and set a category, business applications, single user, low, and let's go ahead and submit this and see what happens. All right, I actually don't know if the AI suggestions tab is even relevant to what we're trying to do, truth is. So with that being said, this runbook is still trying to run. Oh gosh. Okay, cool. Something's really broken with this runbook that's still trying to run for some reason. So we want to figure out how that's happening and kill that. But this one is successful, and it is completing post and vector to the data, and we can see it did happen correctly. So that's one good thing. Oops, let's go back. So that's that. Let's move on from here. I think the AI suggestions tab may be something different, potentially, because there is, if I refresh this page so we're on the latest details, if I scroll down here, there are suggestions, I think, for categorization, maybe, or it may not be available yet in 2152. Yeah. Anyways, in addition to ticket matching and AI insights method, we could use the built-in functionality. I honestly don't know what the specific details are here. But this is interesting. We can determine, like, now that we're using built-in functionality, what field do we want to use to pass to the actual embedding, like the embedding API endpoint. So we can change that to be integration runbooks, or we can use this and pick the specific field at that point. We also do have an AI log, so we can come in here and see like the records of requests that are being made. So theoretically speaking, I could do something like index tickets of ticket types incident, start date from 2 days ago, and save that. And then we should see 3 tickets queued, right? We should, I think, see a log if it's working. Nope, nothing here. Cool. At some point, let's go see if we can tell that it was running off of the integration. All right, well, I mean, bottom line is what you can tell, like we've just ran back and forth a bunch of different ways. In the end, the point is that these AI functionalities are not necessarily working out of the box. So this one worked. That's the internet's so dumb, and we got the response for the vectorization, but we can't actually see the built-in stuff. I think it's inside the log, which does not appear to be working here. So I'm not sure why that is, but we'll come back to that at some point. In addition to the vectorization stuff, we've got knowledge-based search, which again uses vectors. We have the ability, I'm going to put this back onto integration runbooks because I know that works. Category 1 behavior, right? Suggestify. This is what I was looking for before. So that'll show up in the AI suggestions if it works correctly. And I think part of the reason why it may not be working is this part here. But moving on, we'll come back to AI insights, which is what we just ran. We have knowledge-based creation, right? So that was just one, that everything we just did for like the last 40 minutes or however long that was just one runbook, right? We haven't even talked about the next one. So let's go ahead and create knowledge-based articles using AI and take a look at what that runbook looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. We've got a flowchart here. Okay, look at that. See how the runbook did not install correctly. So that's not really helpful. If I come in here and look at this, I've got Azure OpenAI create knowledge-based articles. I got suggestions, emotion detection, suggestions here. Right, so why do I have these two when I don't have OpenAI anymore? And then I've got this one. What's the point of this one? Right, so if we look at this, let's take a look. Suggestions are going to run the create embedding, which is fine. And then it's going to go ahead and update the vector. Again, we already have that. Like, what are we doing? Right, we already have this as part of the insight. So I don't need this to run separately. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. It's not required. In fact, it's actually queued. This is the built-in functionality, actually, looking at the index here. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I guess this is the indexing, so I'll leave it alone. But this is the insights that does vectorization at the point of creation. And this is the knowledge base one, and it's just broken. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the up here, the globe, and I'm going to find the Azure OpenAI Create Knowledge Base, which is right here. And this is what it should look like that. All right, notice that this is installed on my system. It does say update local version. So I'm going to go ahead and reapply that runbook. And it's got an invalid JSON body. Nice. So that's probably why it failed in the first place. If I go back to our runbooks and go to here, go to flowchart, at least the flowchart now came across properly, and we can start like mapping out what's supposed to happen here. Okay, so what occurs first is we create a knowledge base article description. So this is just a method. This method is going to tell OpenAI to they are writing a help article, create a description of the problem described in this message, and it's going to pass the action node HTML. Use a professional tone, exclude references to people's names. Right? It's trying to sanitize it here. Part of the problem we may run into is if you have a query parameter of the Azure OpenAI version, it's already included up here. We can't have it on both places. It's just going to cause problems. All right, so this looks like it's more or less okay. We're going to go to cancel this and take a look at the next step. Right, so it creates a knowledge base article description, creates a resolution from there. If it's successful, it moves to creating a resolution. If it fails, it stops here at failed to create description. So let's go ahead and look at this one, create resolution. We're going to look at the method again, and it's basically the same exact thing. And the difference is it's telling it to describe a resolution to the problem. Notice it's feeding the exact same note both times. That's not really helpful. So you may want to fix that. One of the things that you can do instead is pass the details of the ticket, maybe pass an entire history of the ticket. We'll come back to that in a moment of what that looks like. But yeah, I mean, this is not really helpful by itself because it's basically taking the same note and saying, hey, describe this as a problem, now describe it as a resolution. So yeah, I don't know if that's good or not. It's definitely not the whole history. The next thing that we do is it wants to look up the settings for creating a knowledge base. Are drafts enabled? And do we have a ticket type? If so, if drafts are enabled, what is the ticket type to use for article drafts? If it's successful, it moves to step 6. Step 6 is going to check, are drafts enabled? Is it equal to yes or no, right? If it's equal to yes, then it's going to go ahead and create a draft, which is just basically the ticket ID, including the article resolution and description. Here's the details of the ticket that's going to create. It's creating a ticket, and that's basically it. And then if it's not doing a draft, it's going to go ahead with the actual creation of the article here, right? What part of the problem is that like there are certain things that may be required in your knowledge base settings. So if you go to configuration and take a look at knowledge base, we may have an issue where article review is enabled or use drafts, article versioning, right? This is the setting it's checking for article drafts or KB articles. Also, do we have to have an FAQ list? Is that mandatory? Which is somewhere here. Yeah, make FAQ list selection mandatory, right? So if you have this on, or tags and mandatory, or something like that, this may fail, right? This action to create the knowledge base article may fail. But essentially, like all you really need to do is you can do this to Bookstack, you can do it to Hoodoo, you can do it to ITglue. You can just create the knowledge base article on any API method. You can feed it to Roost or whatever. It'll just basically generate the article and create it for you automatically upon the ticket being closed or upon whatever trigger you want at this point. But this is essentially a more or less workable runbook. The only problems that you're going to run into are number 1, you're feeding it the same exact note in both the description and the resolution. And number 2, you're telling it to create a knowledge base article, and the settings you have in place may prevent that knowledge base article from being created. So overall, it's not a bad setting here. Like we can take this and run with it almost immediately. And one of the things that I did was in my system, I went ahead and I created a custom field. So let's go ahead and do this really quickly. Custom field. And we basically created that field as ticket, generate, ticket closed, generate KB AI, right? AI KB or something. And then generate knowledge base from AI, and that can be a checkbox at this point. And then we're just going to go ahead and save this. And we can go ahead and say, well, in the event, let's go back to our runbook for a minute here. And we can say, in the event the ticket is closed. So we say ticket closed. And generate knowledge base from AI is equal to yes. Then go ahead and run that runbook. Right, and so we can do that at this point. So now if I come ahead and I go to my resolve ticket button, I'm just going to go ahead and throw that checkbox into the resolve ticket button. So we'll go to tickets actions, we'll go to resolve ticket, and let's go ahead and edit this to add the field of generate knowledge base from AI. Save that. And go from there, right? So if I come back to this ticket that I'm dealing with, 2369, and I go ahead and close this ticket, I can go ahead and generate this knowledge base. I can uncheck the email and say something like, the internet was running slow because the bandwidth available was being used up by downloads and syncing of OneDrive. Right, and so we can say resolution category. I don't know. In this place, a resolution category was user education. I guess makes sense, and we can go ahead and save this. Now, with this being checked, we should see the runbook be running at this point. Let's see if it was turned on even. Hopefully it was, because then that's just sad. What a waste of a test. Was not enabled. Let's go ahead and turn this back on. Save that. And try this again. So we'll go ahead and reopen this ticket. And uncheck that. And save in progress. And we will go ahead and reclose this ticket. Resolve ticket. Generate knowledge base article from AI. Wow, what the heck happened to my text I had copied, right? Let's go ahead and save this and see what happens at this point. We should see the automate running. It's in progress, and we should see that more or less be created. Create resolution of the issue, right? So the AI is currently processing it, and then we can see that it went ahead and actually built the article for us, which we should now be able to see here, for example. We should see the log was successful, article was created, and then we can see that over here. And if we look here, the article that was created was article ID 35. And so if I come here and go to, technically speaking, I should be able to link that, like refresh this, and it should be linked somewhere here, I think. Who knows? I don't know. Let's go take a look at the knowledge base specifically. And we're just going to change our ID number to 35. And here we go, the actual article created from ticket 2369. Issue description, resolution, right? Common issue that can affect MSPs bandwidth consumption by applications running in the background, such as OneDrive, right? And so essentially just generated the article from us just by having that checkbox there. So that's one of the other cool things that Halo added in, is the ability to generate knowledge-based articles. Now, do you need to be on 152 for that to happen? No, you can literally build this flowchart yourself. Almost everything about this flowchart, about this runbook, already exists in older versions of Halo. You don't need to be running 2152 in order to use it, but it is something that's added out of the box as part of Halo's functionality. It just, again, it's not necessarily working potentially, or you may need to tweak it a little bit to get what you want. With that being said, let's go ahead and close some of this stuff out. Let's move on to the next section of AI. This is a really long video because I got sidetracked by the suggestions. All right, so we've got AI insights done. We've got knowledge-based creation done. We have emotion detection turned on as well. So let's go take a look at that runbook. This runbook is enabled. It's not set to be running anywhere at any time. There's no log of it happening. So we want to go ahead, that bug is back, woohoo, and take a look at our runbook. And of course the runbook does not work. Not only that, but it's actually using the wrong runbook. It's using OpenAI emotion detection. That doesn't really make any sense. We want the Azure OpenAI emotion detection runbook. So let's go ahead and look at our globe. And we've got Azure OpenAI motion detection here. This is the one that we want to do. And notice it says install to Halo. There's no, it's not updating. If I go to OpenAI motion detection, here I can update the local version. And again, it's not really working per se, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make this work correctly. I'm going to go back to the AI settings, and I'm going to turn off the emotion detection at this point. So we're going to disable that. And I want this to basically delete that runbook from my system. Let's see if it does it correctly. So we're going to have custom integrations, runbooks, and it is not gone. So we're going to go ahead and delete it manually at this point. All right, so we've got these two are functioning. This one is still broken for some reason. I don't know what happened here. We got into an error. What happened? Vectorized data. 500, populated ticket. Yeah, okay. So this runbook, again, is just broken out of the box. I'm going to delete this one. I don't think it's being used, and I don't think it's necessary. And OpenAI suggestions, again, we don't want it to run, right? Like, same idea. We thought we deleted this before. We're going to go ahead and delete it again. So we don't want that running when a ticket gets created. So we have very clean runbooks at this point. We have very clean AI configuration. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn this back on. Use AI detect the emotions of a user's message. Let's go back to our runbooks and see what happens. So now it created the OpenAI emotion detection again, and it actually did build it correctly, although it's not OpenAI, it's Azure, so that's great. So we're going to go ahead and rename this to Azure just for purposes where it's clean. We're going to go to the flowchart and take a look at what's going on. The very first thing that happens is we create an action on the ticket, and that action basically summarizes the entire interaction with the ticket, all non-sys actions. So any conversation with the client, any responses from the client to the client, and so on and so forth, will get summarized into a single action. We're going to then feed that action to something that determines the tonality, right? Well, the problem is that, again, we don't have a method set here, so that's not correct. So we want to take this and set this to OpenAI evaluate emotion specifically. Evaluating the emotion, if we edit the method, what's going to happen is it's going to pass in the body following its correspondence between end user and their IT service provider, take the message history and evaluate the mood of the user, and it pulls ticket history, right, which is the variable that we want to use. So if I take this and go back to here, like the other thing that we notice immediately is that this is wrong. Like I've got, again, another header here, and I've got the header up here. I can't have them in both places. It's not going to work. So I can delete this, save that, and fix that method. And then we're going to choose this method from there, and we're going to go ahead and save this. But we want to go back and make sure that we're actually logging the variable, right? The variable is not even saved. Where is that coming from? And so what we want to do is we want to create the variable it's missing. We said there's ticket history was the variable name. We can go grab that variable name from the method that we want. Let's go ahead and go to edit method. Let's go to output variables. Sorry, we want to go to body. Grab ticket history, copy that, cancel this, and we're going to go back to our get sentiment actions, and we want to basically take this like this. This is going to be ticket history, and what we want this to be is going to be the following. Response caret note underscore HTML exclamation mark. So this is basically going to be when the action's created, it sends a response back from the API. And we're going to take our response and we're going to pull the note HTML property out of that response, and we're going to pass that into ticket history. So it's going to give us that HTML of that ticket history, and then it's going to pass that up to here, determine the tonality of that, and then from there it's going to take that tonality and it's going to post it back into the ticket as AI sentiment analysis and AI satisfaction level. The other thing about it is notice that these variables are also wrong because we are using Azure and not OpenAI. So this whole thing is just broken because Halo doesn't have that properly set. So the analysis is going to be the emotion evaluation, and satisfaction level is going to be the satisfaction level. And we're going to fix those two, and we're going to go ahead and save this. Now, the reason why I'm not just deleting this and installing the one from the marketplace is because this setting, the checkbox that we're turning on, is linked to this runbook. So I don't want to remove or break that or change that or whatever. I want to just fix the runbook so that way the link is maintained. With that being said, I can come in here and I can say, let's go ahead and tie this to an event occurring. We're going to mark this in the event a ticket is closed. We're just going to go ahead and run it every time. Now you can come in here and say, well, we want it to be when it's closed, but we only want it to be when the ticket type is a specific type of ticket, which is valid as well. But if I want to evaluate all interactions across all tickets with every user, I can just leave that alone at that point, or I can, again, filter it for specific types of ticket types that you're concerned about. With that being said, we want to go ahead and run this runbook and see what happens. All right, so we're going to go for this interaction. We're going to go ahead and reopen this ticket, and I'm going to go ahead and reply back to say something like, user is still complaining. Simple math, and we're going to go ahead and save that. And then we're going to go ahead and re-close that ticket one more time. I'm not going to generate an KnowledgeBase article again. I'm just going to go ahead and say we've re-explained. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and save this ticket. Now what we should see that the automation for this will run. It's in progress, getting the sentiment, and it failed. Ta-da! Okay, so why did this fail? Let's go figure that out, and we got to fix it. So we go to our emotion detection runbook, take a look at our log, and see that it failed because, again, it's giving us that JSON string. It has no idea how to handle that whatsoever. So this is fun. We're going to want to try to figure out how we can build that in or fix that using the same method that we did earlier. So let's go to custom integrations. We'll go to our custom integrations again, go into another one, Azure OpenAI methods, Azure OpenAI methods, and let's look at the ticket details v1 and see if like we talked about this before. Let's see if I can grab your entire response. Output is going to consist of a single JSON object. You will not send JSON MD markers. Go ahead and cancel that and see if I can put it into this evaluate emotion that we're going to do here. Edit this. And let's put this at the end and see what happens. Right? And let's go ahead and save this. And we're just going to reopen this ticket and reclose it again. Notice, by the way, this is the action that it's creating, right? So it's basically building that action using the variable, all nonsense actions. And then we're just going to go ahead and retrigger that close ticket to see if we can get that to be properly executed. So we can come to our automations. We can see it's in progress. Oh, the KnowledgeBase article is running for some reason. I guess it did that. And then we've got the same problem here. Oh, it actually did work correctly, but it didn't like that the analysis was too long or something. Take a look at this. So that actually did work the way we expected it to. Evaluation is the end user's initial computer. So it's clearing this. Interesting. This is the wrong thing. Let's go back to our evaluate emotions one and take a look at our log, right? So the last one that ran, we got a response back that included a JSON MD marker. And then the last one we ran, we got a response back that did not include the JSON marker, which is good. But the evaluation was way too long, I think, for that field to be able to properly get it. One word string indicating emotional state and satisfaction as an integer, or I should say satisfaction state. Status action as an integer, or 1 or 2 word string, let's say. 1 or 2 word strings. Do not include a string summary of the response. I don't need that necessarily. Yeah, I guess we can. Like, don't include a string summary, and it did it anyways. So that's great. You gotta love AI. All right, so let's go ahead and reopen this ticket, and let's try this one more time. And don't worry, if you're still hanging on to this video, this is the very last feature in AI that we're going to talk about. We're going to hopefully get it working, and then we're going to showcase how we can use it inside of post-evaluation and success. Ta-da! All right, so now we've got the ability to see on the ticket that it was unhappy and the satisfaction level is 2. Right, and that's basically all it is that we're looking for. Now, how does this help you? Right, so one of the things is, if you're a client of mine or if you want to reach out to me, I'll share it with you. I've generated and built a couple reports that we can use. So if I go into the reporting center here and I just paste the SQL really fast, we've got 2 different reports that I can use. So number 1 is this will show me the basic ticket and summary and the user, the satisfaction level, and the AI analysis. And then overall, globally, we also have a report that indicates across all tickets that the user ever interacted with, we have the ability to pull back the user, the AI analysis, the number of tickets of each, and so on and so forth. So these are 2 reports that we can use, really driving, essentially it's like an automatic NPS score that's being built from the interactions as you work on tickets, as you close them automatically. This table is still here. It's going to stay there forever, but there are certain things that you can do if you want to help clean that up. So what I've done is I used my Halo integration to then delete that action once it's been created. So you can do that as well. There's some creative things you can work to clean up that ticket if you like. Other than that, I think we just covered basically every AI function or almost every AI function that exists in the new version. Let's go back and take a look. Emotion detection, AI reports, I'm not getting into. You want to try them, knock yourself out. I don't have high hopes for them right now. I feel like it's going to take a lot of work. Anything, by the way, in general, anything that requires using the OpenAI assistants, like AI assistants, as opposed to the chat completions, yeah, good luck. Because the way the API works for the assistants is that you have to loop call over and over and over again until the AI has finished generating the response, and then you can grab the response. It does not use a webhook functionality, which would be significantly faster and more efficient. It requires you to loop the request over and over again until it comes through. It does work to a certain extent, but at the same time, like something has to re-trigger the next lookup. So if you've ever noticed you try using the AI report generator, it like throws a blank pop-up. That's the loop occurring. It's going to try again. Are you ready yet? Are you ready? Are you ready? And it's going to try over and over again until AI comes back with the response. And then even with that situation, there's no guarantee that AI has any idea what data you're trying to pull, the structure it's talking about, or whether your custom fields exist or whatever, how they connect. And so the chances of it being a valid working SQL is still very unlikely. So it's just not worth it. I'm not going to talk about it beyond that. Thank you detection, I would go ahead and turn on. It's super easy, super dumb. It's either going to work or not going to work. Worst case scenario, it works and you don't open tickets from a client saying thank you and so on. Survey, I actually haven't tried this, so I have no idea what it does, but I imagine it's basically the same thing that we've just gone through with every other feature, with the knowledge base, with the emotion detection, and the insights. Like the runbooks have been broken out of the box, and the reason that is because they work on Halo's side when they develop it, but when you install the runbook into an existing system, they haven't yet mastered versioning of those runbooks, and they haven't yet mastered how to handle conflicts and things like that. So the settings won't always import correctly, which is why they're broken out of the box, so to speak. Live chat, virtual agents, again, same idea. Virtual agents on live chat uses the AI assistants. I would not bother with them at this point. Still super early. It's not worth it. And yeah, if we look at our logs here, it's still blank. Yes, I don't know why that's blank. On my production system in 2154, the logs are working correctly. So I'm not really sure what to say about that. Anyways, hopefully this was interesting. We kind of went down a rabbit hole, but we did cover every new AI thing from Halo. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.